What's up, Bertini fam? So in today's video, we have something to unbox. Now, before we get into this unboxing, do me a big favor. If you are new to my YouTube channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. This way you can stay up to date on all of my future content. By the way, if you're digging this race hat, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description box below where you can pick one up too. And now everybody knows the reason why you buy these racing hats is this way. When you go out, people think you're actually a racer even though you're not. And of course, it gives you cool points. Duh. Anyways, now that we got all those formalities out of the way, go ahead and roll the intro. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this brown box opened up. We got paper. Not in our bank account, of course, in the box.
The way that my bank account is set up, the thing is, I got a checking in the savings, but all my money is in the savings. I don't think my card is gonna go through unless you got jeans on, because you gotta wipe it off.
Let's see what we got. Gosh darn it, why is everything so hard?
That's what she said.
That's my joke. Damn it, Dwight.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Got instructions, got cables, got more instructions, got more cables. Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's Dakota Digital, digital gauges. All right, these must be the other two gauges. Let's go ahead and cut these open. Another gauge. And another gauge. Nice. So this is what I ended up with. Very nice, very nice. Now there is one more thing, or two or three or four more things that I ordered from Harley, which I'm gonna show you here in a second. Now, the reason why I ordered these from Harley, and I had to do a lot of digging and research in order to find these, is because I'm putting in all black gauges. And if you notice, on all of our bikes have these chrome rims, these trim rings, or rim, whatever you wanna call them, rings, rims. They have these chrome ones, and I figured since I'm gonna be doing a blacked out thing going on here now, I want blacked out versions of these. Now, you could definitely paint these. You don't have to leave, you know, this color, nor do you have to get the ones that I'm about to show you here in a second. You could definitely, of course, paint these, but I wanted to go with an extremely clean factory look, and I'm not that great of a painter. So naturally, I ended up finding a bike that has black ones on it. And so I special ordered those, and that's what I'm gonna show you here now. So here are your black trim rings. This way now we will have a completely blacked out look. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. I like it. Anyways, so the part numbers you are going to need are going to be 2-part numbers. Now, they do come in like 2-part kits. So this is one kit and this is a separate kit. The part number you're going to need is 614-00670. And the other part number you're going to need is 614-00671. Now, one thing to note is you do not need to be installing the Dakota Digital gauges. If you want to install black trim rings, you could simply just buy these black trim rings, special order them, and you could put these on your current gauge setup. Let's go ahead and take our fairing off, pull the factory gauges out, and pop these bad boys in. All right, so fairings out. Now we have access to the factory gauges, as you can see. So now I could pretty much pop out whatever I need here. The one thing that I am going to do is I need to drop the oil on this bike for the new oil temperature sensor. You don't actually have to drop out all the oil, but I figure might as well. I'm not gonna be fussing around with a bunch of oil. I'm just gonna go ahead and lift the bike up, get it on the spools, the bike stand, drop all of the oil out. This way I'll put fresh new oil in. It never hurts to just have brand new oil in the bike, so it's fine. So let's go ahead and get the bike on the bike stand. I just wanna say that boy, do I love having a bike stand. That is just so damn convenient, having spools on the back of these bikes and being able to just lift the bike up that easily. That is a super, super convenient thing. Highly recommend this to anybody with a performance bagger. All right, now we gotta go ahead and drop out all this old oil and then get the new oil temperature sensor installed here. Oil is about to come. There we go. So satisfying. All right, so while the oil is draining right now, let's go ahead and get these factory gauges off the bike and get the Dakota Digital ones mounted in their permanent place. Okay, now that the gauges are off the bike, there's something very important I want to show you all. So what I'd highly recommend now is you lay out the factory gauges the exact same way that you took them off. This way you know exactly how to put these new black trims on. As you see here, these chrome trims are just pop in and out. Assuming you did not go with the black trim route, you can literally just take these pieces off, pop them off, and put them back onto these. Well, these two actually go onto the inner fairing themselves and mount that way, but these two, you gotta clip them into this new setting. So this setting is going to go off of this and go onto this, and then this setting is gonna go off of this and go onto this. Now, very important to note, included from Dakota Digital is the way that everything should be laid out. The one thing that I'm gonna call out so you all do not confuse here is the gauge 1 or gauge 2 and gauge 1. So on the back it says, see, gauge 2 is gonna go this way, and then gauge 1 will go this way. So another way to easily call this out, because right now everything is in reverse, which basically means that your volts, right, is technically your new gauge 2. So this white plastic or beige plastic is going to go on your gauge 2, and the black plastic is going to go on your gauge 1. So this is your current fuel, as you see here, that is going to go on your gauge 1 side. With that being said, let's go ahead and get all these housings off and put on to the new Dakota Digital gauges. But first, the plastics must come off. I hope that was just as satisfying to you as it was for me.
That's what she said.
Okay, now I got all the trims set up. Everything is clipped in perfectly. Everything is good to go. Here's the old stuff and some more old stuff. One thing to note, install these onto the bike before you go ahead and try to pop in this gauge cluster. Just put these on the bike first and then go from there. One other thing I do while you're here is just clean up around the inside of these, just so of course you're installing it, it keeps a nice tight seal, and it doesn't hurt to take 2 seconds to just clean this thing up. All right, so the wiring on this is pretty simple. We're gonna take one of the ends of these cables and we're gonna pop it into gauge number 1 or 2, whichever. And then the cable, the other side, is gonna go right over here, like that. And we're gonna tie wrap this up, so don't worry about this for a second. I think they purposely make it this long in case you're trying to do like a road glide or another kind of setup. You have enough cable. And then you're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Then we're gonna take this end and just pop it into there. That is it. Now this center one is gonna be for the oil temperature sensor, which we are gonna run here in a second. And then now your main gauge sensor that you removed, you just simply, this part by the way faces the gauge, and then you simply just pop it in like this. And that is it. All right, so I got it all zip tied up and now it looks nice and clean over here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move over back to the oil pan and install the oil temperature sensor. Make sure that in the packaging you take out the O-ring and you install the O-ring over this piece. Anytime you put in a plug, especially on an oil pan, you wanna make sure it has this rubber O-ring on it. Okay, so the sensor is now plugged in and I've run the line down the clutch line all the way up into the frame, through the neck, and then into the front fairing. And then from here, you see I zip tied it up really nicely and clean. And then, yep, just plugged it in. Man, I can't wait to remove all of this extra harness that I don't even use anymore. Really clean up the look on here. But of course, that's gonna be a big time-consuming thing. I'll probably take apart the whole bike to do that. So definitely not gonna be happening right now. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the fairing back on, get everything back buttoned up, and then start running through the procedure to get everything set up with the new Dakota Digital gauges. The gauges came out looking super nice. It has that nice, sleek, blacked out look now. I'm really happy with this trim. Highly recommend if you are gonna be upgrading your gauges to these Dakota Digitals, you go ahead and order this black trim. Like I said, I'll include part numbers in the description box below. This way you can go ahead and pick yourself up one of these from your local Harley dealership. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and just put the ignition on. Now, I've already custom profiled my colors. You can do that in the app. So as you can see here, Dakota Digital has an app which they recommend you download. And in this app, you can go ahead and set up all these different things. But I've already customized all the color patterns. I mean, you can literally change everything and anything on here. You can change the messaging to what you want it to be. So for instance, here, I changed this to the head temp instead of it being the volts. And then instead of it saying gauge 2 there, I've removed that messaging. And then I've set things like the time and all that other stuff. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and quickly run you through how you need to set this up. Now, with this in the off switch position, you're gonna go ahead and hold down this switch here, this factory trip switch here. And while you're holding this down, you'll go ahead and flip the switch, and that's gonna put it into this setup mode. Now you can adjust everything through there in the setup mode, but now you see it has registered this, and now you can go through and you can literally change anything you want. You could change what the displays show or hide. You could go into gauges. Once again, you can literally display anything you want here. The lighting, you can customize any of the lighting. As you can see, those are my presets here, but you can go ahead and customize these however you want to customize. So like I said, I've already customized this, but what I'm gonna go ahead and do is tomorrow, we're gonna go ahead and take the bike out so you can see all of this in running order. Right now, it's just way too late for that. So we've already filled up the bike with fresh new oil. So the bike is ready to go. We just need to take it out tomorrow so I can show you what these gauges actually look like while I'm riding the bike. But my initial impressions are these seem to look really, really nice. I'm really happy with the quality. And like I said, I'm super happy with that blacked out digital look. And I'm happy that I could pick these in pink, because y'all know pink is my color. Anyways, like I said, we'll go ahead and finish up the video here until tomorrow, where we go ahead and take the bike out for a ride and show you guys what the gauges actually look like when they're functioning. All right, so far, I'm actually really liking the gauges. They look really good. One thing to note is I live in a super sunny part of Florida. I mean, all Florida is sunny, but it is really sunny where I'm at right now. Let me slow down here now that they've added these lower speed limits on these backcountry roads, which by the way make no sense. Anyways, getting back to these gauges, they deal with sun very well. You would assume that because, you know, it's super sunny, it's going to wash out the colors on the gauges, and as you can see, it hasn't been doing that at all. Now, the one thing that I think I might change is this gauge here. Right now it shows the head temp. I think I might actually change that to the fuel percentage. This way I can, instead of this, I can see the percentage of fuel that's left on the bike. I think that'll be a pretty nice feature just to quickly look over here. I really like this color scheme though. I don't know if I'm gonna permanently leave it as pink, but at least for now, that's what I like, and that's what I want to keep it as. What's cool is in the app, you can actually, and by in the app, I mean the Dakota Digital app, you can actually go in and change this like I was showing earlier. You can go in and change this to whatever color you want. There's tons of colors that you can go through. The one thing I'm definitely going to have to get used to, though, is the fact that I don't have the analog anymore movement. I am going to have to get used to that. I know for some of you sport bike riders out there, that's probably not even a big deal at all, because a lot of the higher end sport bikes are digital anyways, which is cool. I love it. I'm just saying that I'm gonna have to get used to it. I'm definitely not used to seeing my RPMs in a number or seeing my RPMs in this digital gauge here. I'll show you really quickly though how responsive it is. So it is somewhat responsive, not like super crazy responsive. Well, this number is super responsive, but that part is a little bit of a delay, or at least it looks like a little bit of a delay. I'm not saying it actually is. It looks that way since I'm so used to seeing my RPM just go and fly through the roof. Now, you do have gear indicator. You do have distance to empty if you wanted to switch it. So there's a few different things, as you see here, your odometer, your trips, etc., your volts. There's a lot of different things, air temp. Oh, tire pressure. Well, on mine, it's going to show tire pressure, and then obviously the clock. Is she not going? I guess she's not going. I don't know why she was getting mad at me for. I was being kind. Whatever, that's how people are. It's all good. You just got to be nice, no matter what. Even when people are a little bit more rude or aggressive, just be nice. Put out good energy, be calm. It's all good. I really do like this oil temperature feature though. That is a really nice feature to have. I get to monitor my oil temps now, especially when I'm getting on the bike. I can know when to slow down my get down on the bike a little bit. Look at this house. I love this house. This house is so beautiful. It's a really nice place. It reminds me of Spain for some reason. Maybe it's the color schematic or color scheme. Oh, I just realized something. When it gets too bright, the numbers, everything actually turns to a much brighter color. That's pretty cool. I think I noticed that in the app, but I wasn't sure if that's what it did. But it's cool that that's exactly what it does. When it gets too bright, it actually shows like a lighter version, or a brighter version is what I should say. The gear indicator looks to be precise. I mean, this was a super easy install and a super easy setup. Like, it was so easy, it's almost unbelievable how easy it was. I was like, man, is something broken? Did I not do something correctly? That is how easy it was for me. And I'm really feeling this blacked out look. It looks really nice. Yeah, and as you see, now that the sun went back from being not as bright, the numbers went back to being the pink that I set them as. Pretty nice feature, I like that. The other cool thing that I am gonna have to check out and show you guys at some point is do some 0 to 60 times or quarter mile times. The gauges have that performance feature where you can do 0 to 60, or you can do quarter mile, I believe is the other one. So that'll be cool to show you guys at some point what the bike actually does in terms of the 0 to 60 or quarter mile times. Although we still do got to take it to the drag strip to show you guys how the bike performs in a quarter mile. I feel like my voice just turned into Ricky Bobby there for a second. Yeehaw! Shake and bake Ricky Bobby.
I've never seen a driver who wants to win more than this guy.
I can get used to this winning thing!
The one thing I got to figure out how to remove is this whole high RPM thing. That I'm not too crazy about. Don't really care to see what the high RPM is. So I got to figure out how to remove that off of the bike. Because that's not something that I care about. But I'm sure I'll figure it out with time. right now, I just want to enjoy these things. They look so pretty. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the installation on these Dakota Digital gauges. I'd highly recommend, if you're interested in changing the look of your cockpit, you go ahead and pick some of these up. With that being said, you're going to want to stay tuned in to my channel. This way you can stay up to date on all the big things that I have coming to this bike, as well as any new motorcycles that I'm going to be adding to the collection. With that being said, make sure you're putting good energy out there into the world and you're paying it forward. I'll check y'all out later. Bye now.